we'll start. It's just like 20 seconds or so.
Okay.
So I'll introduce you and then I'll mute myself.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is John Serafine. I'm the Director of Counseling here at McQuaid Jesuit High School. And thank you for joining us tonight. This session actually is our last of 10 sessions that we put on this week as part of our College Information Week. And we appreciate you joining us. Our last presenter tonight is our one and only Jeff Grifa, my colleague here as a college counselor at McQuaid. Jeff's going to do a presentation about Naviance, which is a college planning tool that we use here for our students and parents. Before I turn this over to Jeff, I just want to thank Amy Sheffer. Amy has done a ton of work this week in organizing these programs for us, and she spent the last 4 nights at home doing all the technical work behind this and streaming it and getting us set up. So I can't thank her enough for the good work that she's done this week. And before I introduce Jeff, Jeff's a great guy to work with here at McQuaid, and our students are incredibly fortunate to have him as their college counselor. And he has a wealth of experience and expertise, and more importantly than that, he has a really big I care factor and throws himself full-heartedly at our students. So thank you for that, Jeff. And I'm going to turn this over to you. I'll mute myself, but I'll be behind the scenes. So thanks again, and it's all yours.
Thank you very much, John. It really is a pleasure to be here this evening, talking to all of you about Naviance. And I would also like to thank Amy for organizing everything. I don't know what I would do. I wouldn't know how to do all of this technical stuff that she's been doing. So I really appreciate that and your time and energy as well, Amy. So thanks. It's also a pleasure to work with John Serafine. I've really enjoyed working with him since he came to McQuaid. And we divided our office to have a college counseling component. So working with John has been really rewarding. We've had a lot of fun. I've learned a ton from him. In addition to that, those two, I also like to thank Anne-Marie Galetto. Anne-Marie has been here for 21 years. I've been here for 19 years. So it's great to work on a team with a team of people who really enjoy what they do. It's enjoyable to work with a team of people who love working with students and helping students and family, in particular with the college search and application process. So like I said, Anne-Marie's been doing this for 21 years. Myself, I've been doing this for 19. And I think with John's experience here at McQuaid, as well as his experience before coming to McQuaid, all of you have, maybe 75 years worth of experience here to help you out. So with that being said, it's hard to believe that, we would encounter anything new with regard to the college search and application process. Very few things are surprising these days, but, if the last year and a half taught us anything is possible. So, having all this experience behind us and here to help you, and having this experience that we had getting through the pandemic and helping students successfully navigate the college search and application process is proof to me that you can have confidence in us to be able to help you as well. So I feel really fortunate to be here at McQuaid and to be part of a wonderful team and to work with such wonderful students and families. So I feel grateful to be here this evening. Like I said, I'm going to talk about Naviance. Before I share my screen, which is going to happen for the majority, if not all of the presentation, I'm just going to tell you a couple things about Naviance. We started using it in 2007 approximately, and the program has evolved since then. And it continues to change, and sometimes it changes midway through the year. That's just the nature of the beast. But Naviance has really helped us as college counselors in the sense that it has reduced the amount of paperwork that we have to do. The days of us licking, hundreds upon hundreds of envelopes right before Christmas break and getting them sent in the mail, those days are over. That time being spent can now be spent on supporting students and families. So it's a really wonderful program for us to use. Helps us be more efficient and spend time where it needs to be spent, and that's with all of you. So Right now, the current juniors are registered for Naviance. The parents of juniors are also going to be getting registered in the near future. All right. Younger students, ninth graders and 10th graders are going to be registered later on this year. Despite that, if anyone would like to get registered before that happens in a formal way, please contact Anne-Marie Galetto. So you heard her name already. Anne-Marie works across the hall in the College Advisement Center. The College Advisement Center is a great space for all things college and some things career. That's where college representatives will meet with students for their admissions presentations. Today we had St. Bonaventure come into town and do an instant decision day for our seniors. It's where we have our career alumni forum a few times per year, so keep your eyes open for that. It's a great space for students to get information, to get support, whatever they need, whenever they have questions about the college process, okay? So get in touch with Anne-Marie Galetto if you would like to register for Naviance if you're not already registered. And even if you did forget how to register, if you don't have your user ID and passcode or your login credentials, please contact her for that as well. She's a great help. So as I said, 11th graders are registered, and this program is primarily going to be geared towards 11th grade students and families. However, sophomores and freshman students might also be interested in some of the aspects that I'm going to talk about today with Naviance, in particular, the career assessment and the personality assessments that are available that will help students gain insight on their qualities, their skills, and things like that. So how do you get to Naviance? Well, I would say the easiest way to get to Naviance, and I'm going to share my screen now. The easiest way to get to Naviance would be to type in your address bar, student.naviance.com/MJHS. Okay. The other way to get into Naviance is to go to Schoology, click on groups, and then find your guidance group. And then from there, you'll click on resources. It's a lot of clicking to get into the program. And then you'll see Naviance/Family Connection login. All right. And you might be wondering, what is Family Connection? And I'll talk about that in a couple minutes. But either way, once you get to that Naviance homepage, I would just bookmark it for easier access in the future. All right. All right. So here I am at the Naviance homepage. Basically, Naviance, it's a web-based resource for students and parents, and it will encourage and it will support your post-high school career and college planning. It's made up of two components. You've got the Family Connection component, and that's specific to McQuaid Jesuit, and that's what our students and our families will use for the college and career research. Then you have Naviance Succeed. That is what we college counselors will use to manage and track applications. It's what we'll use to submit supporting documents like transcripts, like letters of recommendation, application forms, school profiles, and other necessary paperwork directly to the college. Okay, so with a few clicks of the buttons, we get to negate all the envelope licking and get everything out to a college in a really expedient way, as well as to be able to track that information about when we sent and when a college downloaded certain materials. So it helps us keep track. And when students have a question about, oh my gosh, this college doesn't have my transcript, we can pop right into Naviance and we can say, well, it looks like they downloaded on October 13th. So let's give them a call and see what the deal is. So it's a really great program, okay? So here I am at the homepage of my mock student, Kent Dorfman. He might sound familiar to some of you folks out there, but at any rate, the homepage in of itself has a lot of information, and I'm going to go through this, okay? One of the things I'll tell you, once in a while, you can use your browser navigation to go back and forth through the pages, but my suggestion would be to use these links within the program whenever possible. Sometimes it will ask you to refresh for a certificate, or do you trust this certificate? Whatever that means in computer lingo. If you can avoid that, please do so. So I would just say click using the navigation within the program itself, okay? So up here we have all the major sections that we use in Naviance. Specifically what we use, the most that we use is colleges. I'm just going to be clear with you. The younger years are going to be using careers and self-discovery along the same lines, but really what we use, especially me and John and Anne-Marie, we use this section a lot. The career section is going to be for, maybe some juniors early this year. I know that some of the counselors went into some classes to talk about careers and the assessments that are out there. And I'll show you some more of those later. I'm also going to talk about the assessments that are available in the self-discovery section, and I'll talk about the college section as well. We don't use the planner that often, and I don't think many students use this either, but this is just an area where students can keep track of obviously their goals and the things that they have to do and some other tasks. Some students really just choose to keep track of that stuff on their own with their agendas or through a journal, okay? So those are just ways to navigate through the other portions of Naviance. Here you have a quick link to favorited colleges, careers, different career clusters. And so anytime you see a heart next to a college or next to a career, when I click on that heart, it's going to be either added to the colleges I'm thinking about, or it's going to be added to my favorite careers and career clusters. And this is just a shortcut to get to those sections. This area right here that says give feedback. So when I mentioned before how Naviance can change sometimes midway through the year, sometimes it's the result of the feedback that they get from students and or basically users of the program. So it's nice that they're open about that. Our students who are really involved in this, if they don't like the way something looks, or if they don't think it's easy enough to use, they can give some feedback on that. And chances are a lot of other students or users are given that same kind of feedback. And so Naviance will react to it, okay? The other area you have is messages. So when I click on that, you can see that Kent Dorfman was not very good at checking his messages. He has 101 new messages. These messages are also sent to the student's email. Excuse me. But you can see the majority of them come from Anne-Marie Galetto. I send a few messages as well. A lot of them are, as you can see, are about application deadlines, scholarships. You can see an announcement for the Alumni Career Forum, an announcement for the St. Bonaventure Instant Decision Day. So these are just announcements, information about events, deadlines, important things for our students to think about. We can send messages to students in a particular group if we're just targeting juniors, or if we're just targeting people who have, a particular college in their list. We can use that to send messages to those particular groups. So it's really important that students and families are keeping an eye on the messages that are incoming from Naviance. Going back to the home page here. At some point, this section right here, there's going to be a welcome message. Now, if we're getting closer to application season, we're past the brink of the beginning of application season, but when that happens, Anne-Marie will often put in a message about welcome back seniors. Please check in with your college counselor. Here are some important dates to be mindful of. So it's essentially a bulletin board for important information that we want the students to see right off the bat, okay? And then this tile right here is essentially what it says. These are the sections that I go to most often, and so they're just put there for easy access whenever I log into Naviance. When we have something new, we'll post that information there, but obviously there's nothing new to review in this visit, so check back later. And sometimes we'll use this important to-dos and tasks. So if we don't email students about something, we can populate this area and students can just click on that and complete the task. Sometimes we'll put surveys in there that students have to complete. Sometimes we'll ask them to put in information about, their college decisions, their application decisions, so that we can keep track of those decisions in Naviance. Right? You've also got this section right here, trying to decide which college is right for you. Check out the colleges looking for students like you. And so if I were to click this, it's going to show me a number of colleges that match my academic profile. Okay, and I'll show you right here. It says, why are these colleges listed here? So when I click that, it tells me why. So you match the profile of students that this college is looking for, and they have majors that I've searched for. So in a sense, this is really keeping track of my activity in Naviance, and then throwing some colleges at me that I might want to look at. Okay, so this leads me to the point of, there's going to be a lot of times when people suggest college to students. So sometimes a relative says, oh, you should really look at Iona College. My nephew loved it there. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that that particular student is going to love it there. Doesn't hurt to take a look because you never know. But essentially, what this program, Naviance, is designed to do is help students do the research to find out if a college or a group of colleges is going to be a good fit. All right. And then you heard about that on, I think, Tuesday from Sydney Clayton from Georgetown. And she talked about the college search process and the importance of finding a good fit. So that goes without saying. This program with colleges as well as with careers is not designed to tell you that you should go to these colleges or that you should major in this field or that you should work in this career. These are suggestions for the students to do their own research and then apply their own desires and values to find out if all of those things that I mentioned are going to be a good fit. It's up to the student to make those decisions, of course, with our support and help. Okay, go back to the homepage. Down from there, we've got this section called Document Resources. This section is populated by us in the counseling office. And you can see each of the folders has a different title, and in each of those folders with a different title is obviously a different group of resources related to that title, okay? So obviously college essay writing, we've got an example of a McQuaid alumnus who wrote this wonderful essay and allowed us to share that with current students. We've got a group of helpful YouTube videos for writing the college essay, and so on. You can see all the nice resources that we have in here for students to use. Juniors, got a bunch of things to think about, all related with college research and the hopes of finding a good fit. A couple of videos that I made for students and families to watch. All right, Introduction to Naviance. This was last year's presentation, just like I'm doing now. Okay, so that will be updated after this. And then you can see that there are other sections that students would want to look at. The seniors is about the nuts and bolts of how to do transcript requests and do the application process here at McQuaid. Okay, so that I think is really valuable. We put a lot of time and energy into making sure that there's some helpful resources available for our students and families. Down from here at the bottom of the homepage, you're going to see that there are some links from schools. And this is, again, something that Anne-Marie Galetta will populate. And these are really common, helpful websites that most every college prospective student is going to be using throughout the process. Okay, you can see many of you have heard about the Common Application, College Essay Guide, great resource for writing your college essay. You got FAFSA, Student Loan Calculator. You can see what they are. So I would suggest checking them out when you do have a chance. And then you have some updates here with SAT dates and deadlines. Anne-Marie does a nice job putting this table together for easy access for our students. Because sometimes, believe it or not, it's hard to find those dates when you go to the website. One thing I will tell you about this program is that you can't mess it up. So what I tell students when I give them the quick tutorial in my office about this program is I really urge them to explore. Get in there. Click around, learn about what this thing has to offer. There is so much information here. You can get on this site anywhere you have access to the web. So you can use your iPad, you can use your phone, you can use a PC. Anywhere that you can connect to the internet, you can get into Naviance and start working or continue your work on your college search, all right? But you're not gonna goof it up. You're not gonna accidentally apply to a college. So please don't worry about that. Colleges aren't looking at what students are doing in Naviance. They're not looking at the colleges that they have saved in their list. That's not how this works. This is a bridge between the student and the student's college counselor, as well as, like I said, a tool to help us send supporting documentation to your and track that documentation that's going to the colleges. Okay, so once you do finish up watching this and you feel motivated to get into the program yourself, just have fun with it. All right, click around and see what it's about. I think you'll be really pleased with just the vast amount of information and how powerful this website actually is. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about a few sections here, self-discovery, talk a little bit about careers, and then I'll show you the college stuff. Okay. Oh, one thing before I do that, I didn't mention that, right from the home page, if you want to, you can simply search for, if you know the college name, you can type it in there and you can go directly to that college's profile within the Naviance system. Okay. But let's go to self-discovery. In this self-discovery section, we have 7 assessments, and I took them all. Some I took a long time ago, and I'm still surprised at how accurate they are. But that's not always the case for everyone. And sometimes I've had to, students have had to retake, or we've had to reset the test so they can think about it a little bit more deeply to get some better results to help guide them through this process. But the reason I think this area is so important, it's not just about searching for careers. It's not just about learning about your level of education you need to get to a particular career and what major you need for that. But I think what this section really can do for students is help them gain some insight into who they are. What are their personal qualities? What do they value? What do they think they're good at? What are their strengths? What are some challenges that they might have to work on? What are some things that they can do to help continue to develop those strengths and the qualities that are shown as a result of these assessments? Because I think when students really gain those insights, they look within themselves, it will help them look forward, because they're thinking about those things that they want, those values and those desires and needs from that they want out of the college experience. And that will help guide them into finding those colleges that are going to offer and help them find that good fit. Okay. So I'm going to talk briefly about these things and what they're good for. So the first one we have here is the Achieve Works Intelligences. And essentially, this will help students uncover their different intelligences and explains how to use them. All right, so you can see, they're calling them superpowers here. Make of that what you will, but either way, here are my top 3 as a result. This assessment will take about 15 minutes. It's made up of 54 questions or statements that the students can agree with or not agree with on like a 7-point scale. So for example, it might say something like, I enjoy writing and I'm good at expressing my thoughts in written form. And the student would say on a scale of 1 to 7, whether they agree with that or not at all. And so once they do that, they'll get the results and they'll discover how to discover how they like to deal with information, how they like to solve problems, how they like to create things, and they can learn how to use those strengths within school, work, or in any other activities. So very briefly here, this is what the results look like. We get my summary, we get my intelligences at a glance, and then it kind of talks about what these things really mean, the strengths, the challenges. Okay, it's nice that I've got an interpersonal here as a counselor, not just music. Okay, but students can look at this and think about themselves, and they can even say like, oh, wow, here's some other people with strong kinesthetic intelligence. I don't know if anybody remembers Paula Abdul, who's in high school now. So, but at any rate, it's still something kind of fun to think about. But more importantly, I think what they should be doing is thinking about how these strengths might relate to their personal experiences, and then take it from there. So it's a pretty long write-up, as you can see. All right. And then when you get to the bottom, you're going to get some recommended careers based on those intelligences. And then from there, students can either hit the favorite button, or they can hit that link that will bring them to this overview of what it takes to be an architecture teacher in college. Okay, and they can check that out and learn a little bit more about it, the different wages, and then related majors. And this is pretty neat. When you click on this, it's going to take you to a list of colleges that offer architectural engineering as a major. So then you can, maybe even use that to guide your college search right off the bat. And then some other related careers. And so what I like about this is it doesn't just give you that one career that came as a result of that assessment, but it also introduces the student to some other possibilities that they might not have thought of. Okay. The next one I want to talk about is the Achieve Works Learning and Productivity. And this helps students identify, and this sounds a little weird, but their sensory and mindset preferences so that they can develop study practices that work for them. and think about how they learn best and how they can be most productive. And this one has 69 questions, and again, takes about 15 to 20 minutes. So when I did this, it was kind of fun. And basically, it's going to ask you questions about what environment do you want to be in? Do you like high light or low light? Do you like to have complete silence? Do you like to eat while you're studying? Do you like to stand up while you're studying? Things like that. And when you get the results, that'll include tips for making studying easier. So this might be good for a freshman or sophomore, actually, to get them thinking about, how to be more successful when they do have to do that work at home. And if they're not comfortable where they are and you're trying to troubleshoot, figuring out ways to, increase productivity in studying at home, this might be a good one to take a look at. Okay. But the results, again, get your summary. Here are some of my sensory preferences. You get it broken down into those different areas. Environmental preferences. Obviously I'm a morning person. Some people are not. Everybody's going to be different. And that's the beauty of this. It helps you figure that stuff out and then gives you some tips for how to make that happen for yourself. Okay, recommendations. Let's go back. The next one is AchieveWorks personality. And so for this one, this is essentially based on the Myers-Briggs type indicator. And so students are going to be given a scenario, and then what they'll have to do, almost like a real life scenario. And what they do is they have to decide how they would react to that scenario. So for instance, here's one example. I call up friends to see if they want to get together, and I enjoy parties because I get to see lots of people. Or I would rather hang out with a close friend or two rather than socialize with a lot of people I don't know very well. So the students would make the choice between those two options, and based on those, they get their personality type. And so for me, I'm an ISFJ. Now, again, like I said, I took this a long time ago, but I'm just shocked at how accurate it is. Some people talk about this as kind of like a horoscope kind of description. But and probably because I'm older and I've thought about myself a lot more than most high schoolers, I can relate a lot of these comments to, my life experience. But what I think is really important is that when students do take these tests, that they should discuss the results with an adult who knows them, or an adult who can help them, like their college counselor or their school counselor, so that you can help them figure out what these results mean for them. And certainly the students are allowed to disagree with these results. But again, it's going to give me some recommendations and different strengths, different challenges on each of those skill sets. Okay. Go back up to the top. The next one we have is the AchieveWorks skills. And skills, there's a lot of them. You have soft skills, you have hard skills, employability skills. And so the 5 critical skills that are used in this assessment are based on the Hexaco theory, and they provided progress over time. So students can retake this and it'll keep track of your process, or your progress rather. And then they'll give recommendations to help students build that skill set and match them to different careers. So when I look at mine, I've got conscientiousness, social, emotional, critical thinking as my top 3. And then again, it just gives me some more information on what those mean, skill facets within that, social, emotional, skill facets, self-awareness, etc. Again, there's a lot here, and it does help students gain insight, right? I know I'm going through that very quickly, but I just want to get to the bottom to show you that this one will also recommend careers as a result of the assessment. Okay, so students can go through and take a look and say, all right, I want to make sure that I favorite this anesthesiologist. All right, and again, when you click on it, it will take you to that career profile. So a ton of information that will lead you to a lot more information. And what I have to say is, essentially, throughout the years, what I've noticed in working with students, and I've noticed with my own experience, and I'm sure many of you can relate, is that the more information you have, the more research that you do and you delve into that information, you're going to feel more confident about the decisions that you make in your choice for college, et cetera. So that's another reason I really like this program. Moving on from there, we got the Career Cluster Finder. This is where students will indicate activities and school subjects that they like or they dislike, and personal qualities that they possess. So the assessment takes about 20 minutes. There's 108 questions, and in your results, you'll learn how well each of the 16 national career clusters fit interests and qualities. All right, so let me show you what that looks like. So right now, this is showing me my highest score. Human services, education, and training is my second highest. And then it shows why is this my top cluster, because I answered questions that, I had these activities that I said I like to do that match up with this human services career cluster. All right, so that's essentially what that means. And then they give me the ranking here in just a different format. Okay, so I can take a look. Different activities. Anyway, again, students read that and they think about, yeah, that fits with me, or maybe not. Okay. Then you've got the career interest profiler. And this is essentially based on the John Holland's code. So you've got realistic, enterprising, artistic, social, investigative, and conventional. Those are the 6 different Holland types, personality types. So essentially what students are going to be doing here is, saying yes, like, dislike, or unsure about certain activities. And it gets really specific. So for example, you might see a question there that says, I like to build kitchen cabinets. Well, it's not necessarily asking a student if they like to build kitchen cabinets, although it is asking that, but what they really mean to say is, do you like to work with your hands? Do you like to build things? Okay. So when I talk to students about doing the career interest profiler, my advice to them is to make sure that they overthink it a little bit. What are they really getting at here? And again, anytime I say I like to do something, that question is connected to one of these personality types. And so my top 3 scoring personality types will give me what's called a Holland code. And each Holland code is related to a career. And when you get to this career page, it's listed in order of preparation. So little or no preparation, all the way up to considerable preparation. Okay. So that's how that works. Let's go back to self-discovery. And finally, we have the Strengths Explorer, and that assesses 10 talent themes for individuals, and it identifies each student's 3 strongest emerging talents, such as confidence, dependability, or if they're a future thinker. Provides explanations for those themes and strategies for capitalizing on each of them. And it even gives action items to help students gain insight into their greatest talents, like their natural patterns of thought, feeling, and behavior that they can leverage in classroom and life. So when I take a look at that, so here's the result that I have: organizer, dependability, caring. So John was right when he said I got a huge I care factor. Maybe that should be number 1, but either way, it's true. Okay. So what students can do is then take a look at that full report, see the theme details, so a little bit more about these different themes and some action items. All right. What else is cool about this? And well, it depends who you ask if it's cool or not, but it gives you a little workbook. And I'm going to be honest, and I don't know of any student who's actually done this, but what this does is help a student be really mindful and intentional about developing their strengths and how to do that. Okay, so it's a nice workbook where they can journal, take notes, reflect. So it's a nice workbook. It's a nice task for students to really learn more about who they are and what their strengths are and how to apply them in the real world. Okay. Then we have the career tab. The career tab is simply a way to explore different careers. I can look at them in alphabetical order. I can type in a career title. I can sort them by education and salary just to take a look at things. I can even look at clusters and pathways, and under each of them, it's going to give me some other related pathways to this that are under the agricultural, food, and natural resources. So as you can see, more and more information. What I like here is this Explore Road Trip Nation videos. Okay. When I click on that, whenever I'm thinking about a particular career, I can search for some videos with famous people or leaders in these particular fields by interest, by themes, or by the leaders themselves. And when you click on that, you're going to see videos and interviews that really help bring to life what these things meant to that person. And I think when a student hears about these things firsthand, it's like, oh, that's what you mean by perseverance. So perseverance was a good one. I looked at that earlier. So you have a lot of videos that will help students understand what people have been through in order to get to where they are in their current life. Okay. All right. So let me move on to the college section. I'm going to go to the college home. And like I said, this is the section where most juniors and underclassmen are going to be focusing on. Seniors, for the most part, have already gone through this stuff. All right. Right now, the seniors are working on this section, and some of them are working on this section. Okay. So we have different college search tools in here. So the super match, this is a good one. So if you did watch, or if you're going to watch the college search process video that Sydney Clayton did from Georgetown, she had gone in depth in these different criteria up here to help you understand what it means to live further away from home versus closer to home. Okay, so I'm not going to go into that right now, but basically I want to show you how to use this tool. All right, so let me X these out and just give you a quick tutorial. All right. So basically I click on location here, and I can do a couple things. I can search by state or region. I can hit the drop-down menu and find a state, or I can search by distance. So I can choose, a zip code here from McQuaid, or I can look at the zip code of my family down in Louisiana and decide if I want to look for colleges within a certain range of that zip code. So there's a couple different ways to search. So for this, I'm just going to use New York. Where are you? Right here. We'll go New York. And then we go to campus surroundings. Rochester's a small city. I like it here. Suburb near large city, suburb near small city. So I can basically choose a range for myself. Okay. Then I'm done with that. And then I get to academics. When I work with students, I explain what all of these things mean, but I'm just going to look for a bachelor's degree now for the purposes of this conversation. And I'm thinking for a major, I'll just type in psychology, general. I can spell. Okay. And then if I had another major in there, I can add it. And if I want to, I can say, you know what, I want to make sure that my college has all of the majors that I put in here. Now, if you're going to put in like 3 or 4 majors in there, you're going to add additional filters that will narrow down your search almost too much. Okay. Similarly, if you start typing in minors, that will happen. Okay. So my advice is to put in a couple, and then just leave this alone. And then you can investigate whether or not that college has the other major in addition to the one that you're searching for. Same with the minors. Okay. Then you get to admission. So right now, juniors don't have all of their academic profile together to make this decision. So what I do with students is say, don't focus on this right now. Focus on fit. We can come back to acceptance rate when we learn about your 6th semester GPA, when you have your SAT and ACT scores, and then we can get an accurate picture of, if this college is going to be reach for you, or if you're competitive at this college, or, I think you have a good chance of getting accepted here. So what I ask students to do is leave this alone for now. But further on down the road, maybe over the summertime, when they do get that other academic information, they can do a list of and leave all of this search criteria the same, but then come back and change one of these to have a group of schools that are reach, a group of schools that are competitive, and schools that they feel confident that they can get accepted to. Okay. But I don't want students getting caught up in whether or not they can get in right now. I want them thinking about fit. Where do they want to be? What's going to be the place that offers them what they need and what they want out of the college experience? Okay. So these other sections like student life, diversity, institution characteristics, cost, there's a lot here. But my experience in working with this program is that when we start applying all of these filters, we get 0 hits. Okay. And this stuff is really easily and readily found on college websites as well as in Naviance. Okay. So let me just show you right now, just these 3 criteria. I have 14 colleges that I can look at. Okay. So you remember I had New York, I had, those 3 different campus surroundings and a major put in there. So they're saying College of St. Rose is 100% fit. Why? Well, bummer. Sometimes it's been bumping me out. So let me just log in pretty quickly. Okay, so obviously it fit all my criteria. And then I'm thinking, why is UVM showing up on my list? Well, it fits all the other criteria, but it's located in Vermont. So that's why it's only 75 versus 100%. Okay. And the other cool thing about the super match is I can say, you know what, that location isn't as important to me. It'd be nice to have it, but I don't need it. So that's why I think students like this super match, because they can kind of grade how important the criteria are. Okay. And so anytime I see a college here that I like, all I got to do is hit that favorite button. And that college is going to go into colleges I'm thinking about. All right. So the colleges I'm thinking about page is where students will update the colleges list that they want to research in the future or are currently researching. This is a section where, you know, a counselor can add a college, a student obviously can add a college, and it will say who added it right here. And when parents get their own login credentials, if a parent adds a college, it will say parent, okay? Students and counselors can remove colleges from this list, as you can see, but parents cannot remove a college from a student's list. And I think that's to facilitate some discussion at home, okay? I will never add or take a college off a student's list unless I'm talking to them about it or unless I intend to talk to them directly after the fact, okay? So you can see you've got a link to a school's profile, which I'll show you in a minute. You've got the delivery type, and this just means, you know, how can the student apply and how can McQuaid send the transcripts to that college. So CA means it's a Common App college. This computer screen means that we can send everything online, okay? This gives you the deadline for that particular college, but you should always go to the college website. Don't take this for gospel, okay? You have expected difficulty. Whereas if I wanted to, I could put in what I think would be the student's chances of getting admitted, okay? This one is important to me. I like when students put in, you know, how interested they are for a particular college, okay? And then from here, I can take a look at scattergrams, okay? Or I can go to a direct link to the website. But to show you the scattergrams, I'm gonna use one that's gonna have a lot more. Scattergrams are cool. This is all McQuaid data. All right, so my mock student here, Ken Dorfman, is looking at Clarkson University, and he wants to see how he stacks up against the students that have applied from McQuaid. And here we are with our scattergram. This area right here is Kent Dorfman, okay? And so basically he's kind of in the mix, but he's at the lower end of the mix. The green check marks are students who have been accepted. The red X's are students who have been denied. And then you've got some waitlisted unknown students. If this was green, that would be a waitlisted student who was accepted, okay? So this gives students a real, a firsthand look at, oh my gosh, this is what it's going to take to get into this college. What are my chances? Well, now they really know, okay? So this helps us have that realistic conversation with the students because you can't argue with that data, okay? Our data range is from the class of 2021 back to, I think, 2015, if I'm not mistaken. We don't like to go back too far because that data becomes irrelevant. You know, obviously the way things change from year to year, the increase of applications, everything becomes more competitive, okay? So let me go back to my colleges I'm thinking about page. And I just want to show you what the college profile looks like. So let's just go to Dickinson. Okay, I'm going to hit refresh because I got that funky thing hanging out in the middle there. All right, so this is the college profile as it is in Naviance, okay? So right here, we're on the overview. You can click through and check out some stuff on their infographics. You can see their average net price for this family income range, graduation rate, 4-year graduation, 6-year graduation rate, acceptance rate, okay? And it says check out the scattergrams. Overlaps. Basically, this means that colleges that students that applied to Dickinson also applied to these 10 other colleges. So sometimes students might want to use this just to see if if they want to grow their list a little bit. All right. Then you get some quick facts about that college. When you click on the studies tab, you get to see, you know, the top area of studies doesn't mean best. It means most popular. Okay, most populated, I should say. And it gives you some other majors that are offered there. Okay. Student life, this gets you into, the breakdown. So when I said not to put that information in your college search, it's best to look for that information here, all right? Then you get admissions, and that's where we get into the accept rate. That's where you get into your scattergrams. So as you can see, we haven't had as many students apply to Dickinson, but when they do, they're usually pretty solid students, okay? And then they can give you some information about how they rank certain application requirements, and then some recommended coursework, all right? And then you can look at some information about cost and financial aid, all right? Going back to the college page, college match very quickly. I showed you that before. These are ones that are recommended to me because of my academic profile and my history of searching. College events, I really like this page. This is up to date. So right now there's, if you get bored of me, you can hop over on Reed College's International Student Drop-In. But it's really nice. Students can register for these things to learn more about their colleges. It might help if they register, if that student is tracking interest, like you heard about earlier this evening. Okay, so let's go back to colleges. You scattergrams, which I showed you before, and then we've got the advanced college search. This advanced college search is basically the same kind of search engine as the super match that I did earlier, but just a different format. Quite frankly, I prefer this one. It's just easier on my eyes, but to each their own. Okay, so all you do is start filling in different criteria. Anytime you see the boxes, you can create a range for yourself, and then you keep moving through and you can view your matches. What I like about this one is that whenever you do a search, you can save that search, which is really nice. The other one will save automatically. As you saw, I got bounced out and I came back in, it was still there. All right. But for here, I can save a search. For example, when I was talking about admission selectivity earlier, I can go through all these criteria and I can get a list of schools that fit, but then I can go back to admission and then say, all right, now I want my reach colleges. Now I want my colleges I feel really confident about. So I can have like 3 different lists of schools, which I really like. Okay, so you can see I've saved a lot of different searches in here for the purposes of demonstration. Okay, I know I'm running short on time. In fact, I'm a little bit over. But again, I just want to show you, these are going to be different, like infographics and things to use to search for colleges, enrichment programs. These are programs that colleges do typically over the summertime, like the Rochester Scholars Program at the University of Rochester. College maps, this is good. It shows you just like, if you're looking for specific types of colleges, you can click on a link and it'll take you to the map and show like the top 20 most popular colleges where our students applied. Boom, there you go. All right, University of Buffalo, RIT. I had a student ask me what our top colleges were, and I was like, I think it's UB and RIT, and there we go. So at any rate, a lot of useful tools here at your disposal, as well as our expertise. So I'm going to stop the share here because I know I'm going a little bit over. But I just got to tell you that there's so much to this program. The way to learn it is to sit around and explore and play around with it, and then let us know what you need and how we can support you in that.
Thank you, Jeff. And I think you certainly demonstrated that Naviance has a ton of great information and resources for us as counselors and for our kids and parents. And if we can ever be of assistance to help you navigate that more, feel free to reach out to us. But Naviance is a spectacular resource. So thank you to all of you. This wraps up our College Information Week. Again, all of our 10 presentations will be posted to the McQuaid website on a YouTube page. And if Jeff and I or Anne-Marie can be of any help to you as you go through this process, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. All right, thanks again, Jeff, and have a great night all.